Hello, and welcome to our second episode of Do Your Work. And we are here today talking about the Root Chakra Challenge. And I've brought some of my favorite friends because I'm so excited to have other voices and other faces here. And we're launching a really cool challenge in May to do a community challenge for the Root Chakra. So without further ado, I will introduce my first, to my right, my good friend Mindy here. And Mindy, I'll let you say a brief introduction about who you are and what you do.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, hi, everyone. I am a health educator by background and a mental fitness coach. I'm also a microdosing coach, and I love the chakra protocol, and I'm particularly excited about the root chakra because I think it is, literally, figuratively, and all the other ways, the foundation. And it's probably the most important one. It's definitely the one we have to tackle first and come back to over and over again. So thank you for letting me be here tonight, Julie.
Yay, thank you, Mindy. And then we'll come over here down, I don't know if it's looking the same way for you, Mallory, over in the quadrant. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Mallory. I'm a barber, and I also am a combo practitioner. I like to hold space and energy for people, and I'm also in the works of becoming a functional health practitioner as well because I geek out about gut health and many other things. Um, Also, I've gotten here just over the past years of being into candle magic and other things, found the academy with Julie, and I'm just really excited to be here and be a part of something and be a baby in it because I'm literally with all these beautiful, like grown, inspiring women, and I live it and I'm here for it. And I'm excited for the root chakra because it is the most important one, like Mindy said. We have to go back to it all the time. And if we're not constantly grounding ourselves and remembering to be into our bodies and protecting our fields, then we're always going to be not feeling the best when we're doing anything. But yeah, that's me.
Yes. And if you guys are familiar with any of our content so far, you for sure know our good friend Charlene down here. Well, down here, but technically to the east. Charlene holding down the East Coast. Do you want to introduce yourself real quick?
Hi, I'm Charlene. I am an intuitive empathic healer, and what I do is I pick up on the feelings and emotions and help you transform into where your soul's journey is, where you began and where you're going to.
Mm-hmm. And Charlene used to be a nurse too, which I think is always a fun fact for people who are very like up in the light in the whole world. That it's also very interesting to see like the grounded part of things as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's get into this. Slides. Oh, it works. Oh, I'm so happy. Okay, today we are talking about the root chakra. And the root chakra covers the earth, is the element of earth. It covers fear and survival, family, tribe, and abundance. Most important slide, and we kind of can go around the room and be like, talk a little bit about this, but what does it mean to do your work? To me, it's something that has come up a lot, even recently, is that it's not a process that you complete. It's just something that's part. Being alive means that we're actively doing our work. It's an ongoing thing. It doesn't stop. That could seem mundane, or it could seem like a lot of like, what's the point of doing something when there's no finish line? But that's a wrong perspective to look at it. It's like graduating cycles, it's growth. Like, would we ever look at a tree and be like, oh no, it's gotten too big, let's cut it off, this is as far as it goes? No, right? It's an ongoing process. We don't really know how big we can grow, but what does that look like? It means developing strong roots. So I don't know if anyone wants to chime in on here and talk about what it means to do your work. Go on. Yeah, just unmute yourself and then you're good to go.
Charlene, do you want to go?
Yeah, doing your work is seeing things from a different perspective, looking at things in a positive light instead of a negative light. And when you really transform into how you see things, that's when you really can start to do your work, because you realize things that happen don't happen to you, but for you.
Oh gosh, I totally agree. It's because life is a self-fulfilling prophecy, and but it's not a one and done. Like it's an everyday decision that I get to choose how my life's going to be, and it's going to be that way because I put in the work. And it's not only daily, it's can be moment to moment, but you've got to do something, at least I think, as a daily practice to do your work, and ideally in the morning, because that's what sets us up for success for the whole day, is the attitude we have about our day from the minute that our eyes open and we put our feet on the floor. So
Beautiful. Yeah, to me it is. It's the daily practice. It's the act of showing up for yourself. From the moment your awareness drops in, your eyes open, you start fluttering open, you're like, okay, today I'm going to be a better version of myself than I was maybe last night. I think at some point as a human being, we've all been there. We're like, you know what, yesterday I could have been better. But that means it doesn't mean like we wallow in it, or it just means that we pick up, we learn, and we move forward. Okay, important just baseline work. What is the root chakra? So chakras are energy centers, and there's not just 7 of them, there's more. We'll get to that. But right now in the academy, we're going to focus on the 7 that are sitting in our bodies, because I believe that when you become aware of yourself and your own energy, you have to be aware of that before you can be a part of a community, because it's less messy that way. That's my biggest takeaway. The location of the root chakra is that it sits at the base of the spine, and it's the foundation of the entire energy system. The element is earth, and the core themes are fear, survival, security, stability, structure, patience, and manifestation. Anybody want to add anything to this slide?
I don't want to add anything, but I will just say those core themes, oh my gosh, like could there even be others other than fear and survival, security, stability, structure, patience, and manifestation? I mean, these are so basic. Yeah, these are ones that we need to be aware of and working on all the time.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. If anybody doesn't have anything to offer, I will move into the next slide. The color is red, and the sacred symbol you can see over here. The what's the word I'm looking for? Not the Ganesh. I don't know. I was like the spiritual teacher. The entity is not the right word. What is the word I'm looking for? Ganesh is the symbol of the elephant, the mythical animal of the root chakra, bringer of good fortune, happiness, and health. The planet that governs the sacral or the root chakra is the Saturn, and that's a hard one for all of us, because Saturn is the planet of hard lessons, and I think that's when doing the root chakra is a little bit challenging for a lot of people, because it does come with looking at hard lessons, and nobody loves to do that. Nobody loves to do it. And then the cube is the visualization. Anything to add before we move on? Sorry, this is our first time doing it with this many people, so it is a little clunky, but we're going to get there. We're doing it, and that's what matters.
I was going to ask if you knew if it was anything direct because of your Saturn, when you go through like your Saturn return, wondering how that affects and goes back to doing that work in the root chakra, because that is also the beginning, because doesn't every chakra also starts within different phases of your life too? I can't remember how it goes. This is something that I was learning, so I'm not fully in depth on that yet.
That is interesting, because you haven't hit your Saturn return yet, right?
I'm 27.
Yeah. So my Saturn sits in Scorpio, and my Saturn return, it was like when I was like 29, 30, and Scorpio is a little bit of like death, transformation, And that part of my life was profoundly changing. It was the first moment of my life where I actually sat back and was like, I'm going to stop feeling guilty for everyone else's projections on me, which I'm still learning. But that was the first time I was like in my beginning of my 30s. I couldn't go home as often as I wanted to. I couldn't engage with family and friends back home because I was a flight attendant. And I felt so guilty for not being involved in all of these things. And I felt guilty because I was just living my life. And I was like, okay, I've got to let this go. But at the same time, that's when my grandmother died. My mom had a stroke. So there was like all the women in my life were taken away. And so my Saturn return was like very big, very emotional, very death and rebirth. So I can definitely say for me, that's kind of when one of my bigger awakenings did start, was Saturn.
Okay. That's what I was just curious about it because you know more about astrology than I do.
I know Charlene can chime in on some of this.
I don't know if anybody can. I just was genuinely curious.
Okay. Over here. Okay, body connections. So also, whether you believe in chakras, energy or not, there is body parts that are attached to this. And physically on the 3D level, it's your adrenal cortex, your kidneys, and your blood, skeletal system, your feet and your knees and your hips. So also anybody that knows, like, Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, and we always have knee problems. We have bone issues. It's one of the weird things about medical astrology. It's so fascinating. But also knowing in kidneys is where a lot of anger sits. And so a lot of anger is usually from past lives or ancestral things, and we hold a lot of these old, like, big feelings in these glands or in these different parts of our bodies. So clearing it out is one of the ways to acknowledge it, not live in it, not perpetuate it, but to move through it and to move forward. Imbalances can be arthritis, kidney stones, osteoporosis, bone problems, autoimmune conditions, and sciatica. Moving over to our resident nurse down here.
Oh, I was just gonna say, not only just past lives, but I work with a lot of children, and just from a children's perspective, they're not able to speak what they feel, and are, especially children of today, they are the light. They are going to bring us into a whole new world, and being empaths and being sponges, they don't know how to, like, release anything, so all that stores up in their root, which ends up carrying them, which we did, carried us into our adulthood. So it's like when you start doing energy work, even as young as even in the womb, you help that child not have to deal with all this stuff that, like, say, we have to deal with as an adult, because it's already cleared. So it's, you can start doing this as early as in the womb. It doesn't even you don't even have to be an adult to start working on your root chakra.
Start it now.
Yep.
There's no time like the present. And why put off something that's it's like changes everything. Something that I've been sitting with a lot, even recently, is just like, what does my root chakra mean? To me, it's safety and security. What does it mean for me to feel safe? What does it mean for me to feel safe physically, emotionally, spiritually? And like really sit with, what does safety feel like? And a lot of us don't actually know what those secure or safety feelings are like, because we've never experienced them. Archetypes. I love this one. So again, this comes back to so many things, but the mother is the positive archetype. The mother being like the nurturing thing of, like, when we feel supported, when we actually, and this could be hard for some people if you have a poor relationship with your mother, but it's that maternal thing, not your actual mother. It's nurturing, positive, hopeful, encouraging. It acknowledges and affirms our being through love and kindness. It makes dark moments bearable because they bring hope and a positive outcome. That is like all energy that you can bring for yourself. Something about being an adult has been very challenging, is that we have to, like, learn how to parent ourselves. That's not always the funnest lessons, but they're there. And then the negatives is the victim, the negative archetype, unable to rally regenerative forces, dependent on others to maintain life, temporarily or permanently uprooted from a life they once enjoyed, or a person that's overwhelmed by external circumstances. And we've all met those people. We've been those people. Soul lesson is service, and the intelligence is administrative. Anything to add before we go? Charlene, I see you. I think. No? Okay. Cool. All right. Signs of imbalance versus flow. So these are the only questions that you can ask for yourself. No one else can tell you. You just have to be honest with yourself. And a lot of the root chakra work is about self-honesty. When it's blocked, you can feel despair, victimhood, and feeling like life is unbearable. There could be chronic fear, anxiety about survival or safety. Those are where that victimness kind of comes in, feeling like people are always out to attack you, feeling like paranoid. These are signs of an imbalanced root chakra. Mistrust of life or others, violent or hateful thoughts, and disconnection from body, home, and community. When open, it's a sense of security and belonging. It's patience, everyone's favorite word. Able to let things unfold in time. Strong, stable structure supporting daily life. Trust in the goodness of life, that life is happening for you, not to you. Connected to family, tribe, community, and dreams, and manifesting through consistent grounded action. I always can tell if there's an inactive or underactive root chakra based on people's abundance and flow. Myself, that is one of my biggest telltale signs if my root chakra is out of balance is money is not coming in for me. Do you guys have any other perspectives on that? Stories, comments? No, okay. Crystals. Okay, crystals. We've got my favorites because Capricorn, again, ruled by Saturn. We love a garnet. And a ruby is in here. These are just nice stones that you can either hold on you, put on your actual root chakra, hold them in your body to feel safe. They can be with intention. Hematite is a really beautiful one. It's like very dense, so you feel that kind of security and safety in your field. And pyrite. Does anybody have any ideas and comments on crystals or how you can use those for your root chakra?
You can also take the crystals that you can put into water, because some crystals you're not allowed to. But the crystals that you can actually put them in your water and drink them and use them as an elixir.
Mm-hmm. Yes, not selenite, but a lot of crystals. Don't
Yes.
drink selenite water.
No.
Anybody else root chakra crystals? Good. Affirmations. Affirmations are really important for root chakras because I think root chakras hold a lot of old stories, a lot of old paradigms, a lot of old energy of stories that we were told about ourselves that aren't necessarily true. So people who grew up in like religious backgrounds, culty vibes are all stories that were programmed into your root chakra from birth usually. Stories our parents told us, stories their parents told them, stuff that was like in our DNA that we were led to believe, and it's for us to discover. So I believe that speaking affirmations helps remove old paradigms and tells us what a new paradigm can be. A couple of beautiful ones, and you can use these whether you speak them out loud. I think that using your throat chakra for these things makes it more empowering. And Mallory and I have talked about saying three things 3 times and the power that it has with that, but also even writing these on a little post-it note and putting it in your mirror, in your car, wherever you are, just visually repeating them, because to remove old stories, you have to bring in new energy with new stories and new belief systems, and those can come from these beautiful affirmations.
There's even a free app that's called I Am. And you can put, I have it on my phone. And on the lock screen, it has affirmations that just like cycle through every however often you want them to. But then you can also get notifications, and you can do the free version or you can pay for it. I do the free version. I'm not paying for it. But it even will send you a notification saying affirmations like, I love Mallory. I love the life that I've built. I love the success that I have now and will have in the future. Like, it just gives you I ams too, but it's really great. I honestly really like it. It forces me to say them because I have to read them. It's a notification. And it's on my phone.
I love that. That's beautiful. That's very
That is so cool.
Very cool. I love the good tips and tricks. And you're reframing your life and your story. So it is like, who do you want to be? What is the life you want to live? Do you want to live in paranoia? Do you want to live in sadness? Do you want to live in anxiety? No, right? Or, I mean, some people do, but like, I think like if you had like a real choice, you could be like, wow, I actually want to affirm that I have the right to live the life that I know that I want. I am grateful, and gratitude comes in so beautifully for the root chakra. It's one of the most important things. It starts with gratitude here.
And I also feel like if once you can get a lot of the anxiety out, once you really come into yourself, and a lot of the anxiety and the not feeling safe is from living other people's lives. Because when you do something that you don't want to do, and you do it because you're, that fear of judgment, it's like, it's that anxiety. But once you finally come into yourself and start listening to yourself, that's when you're doing the work. That's when the anxiety goes away. That's when, you're starting to live your life. You're starting to take the mask off. You're building your boundaries, setting your foundation.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. I am pressing the next slide, but it is. There we go. Okay, root chakra and action. Some things that we can do. So we have our body staying steady in energy all day, deep, restful sleep, strong immune systems, a calm nervous system, feeling safe in your body, and able to relax and let go. Those are things we strive for, at least personally. Things I strive for. The choices in a root chakra are setting boundaries, not just setting boundaries, but setting them with ease. Say no without guilt. No is a complete sentence. Mindy and I have talked about holding a circle where we all practice saying no in different ways. Because this is an exercise with our throats, and our throats are also muscles. So you have to practice saying no. What does no? It can feel empowering, but it was kind of taken away from us when we were little.
I love that for like self-authority.
Yeah,
I think that's really great. That sounds great.
Yes, when you can finally like live in your truth and live your world and say no just because you don't want to, and you don't even have to say why. It's just no, I don't need to give you a reason. It's like, it's just liberating. I love it.
I can give you a really quick example of how to do it without feeling bad. No, that doesn't work for me. That's it. That's all you have to do.
My friend, I want to get her on one of these lives so bad. She says, that's not very convenient for me. Sorry. And she says it all the time. I'm like, honestly, I love that. Oh, so not only is it saying no to others and respecting, like setting the boundaries, but setting boundaries means you're respecting your boundaries. And how can anybody respect your boundaries if you don't know what your boundaries are? That's plain and simple. We have to start there. If you don't know what your boundaries are, other people can't respect them. And if you're not clear with them, then they definitely can't. And then you can't get mad at people for not respecting them. And that also goes into structure, because structure is then creating routines, and that's setting boundaries for yourself. That means showing up for yourself daily, practice, going through with this. Okay, today I'm only going to drink water instead of a Diet Coke. I'm going to replace one of my Diet Cokes with a water. I don't drink Diet Coke, but I'm in Utah. It is a real thing. And it's not just showing up, but it's following through. And if you don't, like, okay, for example, I'm in a transcendental meditation class and we get gold, like a gold streak if we do it twice a day. And this week has been chaotic, and there was a couple of days and I lost my gold streak. And did I want to give up because I lost my perfect streak because I'm one of those people? Yeah, I sure did. But did it make me stop? No, it made me get back on there, and I'm going to get my gold streak back, because it means not giving up. It means going back through, because I remember I really liked my meditation, and I remember that I like how I felt when I did it every single day. Forgiveness comes in that, and that's for self as well.
Can I jump in here really quick before
Please.
we move? So I just want to remind people that when we do these things, we also then need to give ourselves a little pat on the back. Julie just gave the example of having a streak that made her feel positive about that. It reinforces when we do these things. We are, as human beings, we have a tendency to focus on the negative, and there's a reason for that. It's to help us stay alive and survive, but it also cultivates this leaning in towards feeling badly about things, feeling negative about things. We need to have a lot more positives to offset the negatives, and we do that by when we have these, affirmations, when we have these choices that we've made, when we set these routines and we follow through with them. We need to have acknowledgement that we've done that for ourselves, not for anyone else, just for us, just a quiet way of doing a little ding, check, gold star, whatever it is. So the root chakra in action is not only going through each one of these things, but it's also acknowledging that we have done it. And that's helping those roots go deeper and be stronger.
Yes. And you cannot, okay, I will say this over and over again. You can have so much fun if you only work on your upper 3 chakras. It's so much fun to be in the psychic world, in the dream state, and all of the things. But just like nature, you can only go so high if your roots are not deep, and eventually that wind will come and it will knock you down. So if you don't actually build your roots and work on that, it will turn into spiritual psychosis. It can turn into all sorts of like actual mental health issues. But those root chakras, if you don't feel safe in your body and you're up here exploring aliens and Lord knows what else, it's not a long-term sustainability. Okay. Coming back to the life part, this is kind of where we were talking about, like, I know that when my abundance isn't flowing in, when my money isn't going, or things aren't connecting right, I know that my root chakra is off. So the life part of this is stable finances, supportive relationships, safe and nurturing environment, a strong sense of belonging, clear direction and purpose, and a foundation that you can build on. When your root chakra is strong, you stop surviving and start building the life you are meant to live. I can truly and honestly say that I believe that I was in fight or flight mode at least until my late 30s. And that's almost embarrassing to say, but I didn't know any better. I was a flight attendant. I moved once a year my entire childhood. I lived in a van multiple times. I lived in my car in a parking lot. I didn't have stable root chakra, but I didn't know because that's just how I always lived. And so it wasn't until I was like truly like set that I was like, oh, wow, this is what it feels like to not be in fight or flight mode. It's an experience. And honestly, it's not the word blessing, but like, I'm not sure what the right terminology is. It's an honor that I've gotten to get out of the fight or flight mode. And I know that a privilege, that's the word I'm looking for. I feel privileged.
There's definitely a really big difference when you get out of fight or flight, because I only started getting out of fight or flight a year ago because I didn't realize I was in it either. So I get that. And you go through a lot of different trials, and it makes you really appreciate the safe environments you end up having. I've been experiencing that with, honestly, somebody I'm dating for the first time ever, and that's like been really nice. I've never felt so soft with somebody, and it's interesting. But then it's also, I have my friends and people that just make my nervous system feel calm, and being able to have everything just feel like it's okay. But I still have goals that I'm going towards, and I feel like there is the things that I can build upon, which we all know. I mean, some of us know what I'm doing, but you know what I mean. It's just really exciting, and it's kind of, I think, the first time that I've always tried to like get into my root chakra and tap into everything, but now this is like the first year where I can feel my like Reiki being a lot stronger, where I can actually do it. And such a big difference when you actually can sit in your root chakra. And this is like literally one of the first times I can say with confidence that I've done it without feeling like I'm not fully in it, like now. So
Beautiful. Thank you. Benefits of a balanced root chakra. Okay, you guys, this is where we're talking about feeling secure. It's a benefit that one we didn't even know that we needed or that we weren't living in. Having more energy, I cannot testify enough to this. The amount of energy that you have when you really get that back, like your energy back into yourself. Emotional balance, strong foundation, better relationships, and the confidence and courage. Everything builds from here. You attract healthy boundaries and healthy relationships. You can move forward with confidence, and you're the creator of your reality because you know who you are. And that's a big one. Okay, some of the ways to balance your root chakra. It's way simpler than people think, and it's also just a little bit of a daily practice. It means showing up for yourself, whether that's 5 minutes, 25 minutes, whether it's every part of your day. All that it means is that you're showing up in some point. And if you're just showing up 5 minutes this month, maybe next month you can show up for 10. Who knows? You got to start somewhere. And that's what this May Chakra, Root Chakra Challenge is going to be about. We can do it together. But some of the daily practices is walking barefoot and connecting with the earth. There's so much science to this. So much science to this. Eating root vegetables. And the nature's literally color-coded things to make it easy for us. Red fruits, red vegetables have the phytonutrients in us to support our red chakra. Science. I did a whole paper about it, and you can find it on our Patreon. The whole thing. I did it for my college, and I got an A. Move your body, strengthening your core, strengthening your booty. Everybody loves a good booty. Yoga, movement, physical and energetic foundation, and sleep. We cannot live in our day without a foundation of good sleep. And that looks different for everybody. Everybody sleeps. There's people apparently who sleep twice a day and do the 2 things like they used to do back in the old days. There's people that need the 8 hours. Some people thrive in 6. Doctors say 8, but like you're the best choice of your reality. You know what the best optimal sleep is for you. We go back to creating routine. Another great thing is journaling your thoughts. I strongly believe that writing things and getting it out of your physical body is the best way to release things. I hate journaling, but I love writing lists. So for me, journaling looks like a lot of lists. Lists just get it out of my body, and then I don't have to perpetuate the cycles in my head anymore. And then coming back to practicing gratitude. Cannot express this enough. In the darkest of my states, and there has been many of them, if I can only find 3 things that I can be grateful for, it helps me somehow get back to this reality that there's something to be thankful for. And sometimes that just means my cat Moo, my cat Winston, and my boyfriend. And sometimes that means air, my bed, and my pillows. Sometimes it's more expansive. I like broccoli. Sometimes it looks better than that. But you have to start somewhere. And even if it's simply as like, okay, I'm thankful that I was able to take that breath. And sometimes you have to convince yourself of it. And meditate and breath goes right into there. Do you guys have any other ones that maybe aren't listed here? No.
These are really good. These are the basics.
Mm-hmm.
If people are able to do several of these every day, they don't have to take long and they don't have to be huge and, like perfect. But so if you get to know me, you will inevitably hear me talk about the flywheel effect, which is a concept that I think came out of a book about business, about companies in the 1980s. But regardless, it's the idea that something that takes a push at the beginning will eventually build its own momentum and keep going on its own. That it's just little efforts, little forward movement that we do over and over and over again. And that's where we're going to see the biggest outcomes, not by doing drastic things that take us off course because we're following this glittery object and that one over there. We stay the course. That's what these are. These are foundational. try and do some of these every day if you possibly can.
Sherilyn, did you have something to add?
Just that when you can always tell when your root chakra is out of balance too is when you start to crave the sweets and the stuff that in the processed foods that you're not supposed to have. That's not good for your body. The more like junk you put in there, you can tell your chakra is out of balance.
That is a very good point and a perfect entryway to the next slide. Almost like you're a psychic.
Oh, damn. I shouldn't be here. Sorry. I'm jumping ahead.
No, it's perfect transition. Honestly, I love it. So a few of the nutritions that are red fruits and vegetables, and we forget sometimes because we are so into looking at our plates and like I can't tell you how many times I've looked at my plate and I'm like, yes, everything on this plate is things that I want, and I'm looking and I was like, everything is beige or gold, and that is not good, guys. That is not good. Something I learned in health coaching school was that your plate should be photographable because it's colorful. Aim to get all of the colors of the rainbow on your plate, and then you're good to go. Instead of even trying to just get there's so many different challenges, and we're going to go through them all, but okay, let me come back to this. So pomegranates, fantastic for supporting circulation and cellular health. I'm obsessed with pomegranates. Beetroot also. If you know me, you probably tried my beets at some point, or I've tried to force them onto you because I love trying to convince people that beets are way more delicious than you've tried. Detoxifies and supports stamina. And if you're a female and you're going through that time of the month and you need that extra support, beets are, yes. Red bell peppers, high in vitamin C and immune support. Strawberries, antioxidant rich and heart healthy. Watermelons are hydrating and anti-inflammatory, and radishes support digestion and detox. We've got a couple of little extra smoothies and a little salad over here, so you can screenshot this, or you can also come to our Patreon and we will be having more recipes and more information on our chakra resets. Anything else anyone wants to add for nutrition on this? Anything else that's red that we haven't thought about?
Your mic's not on, Charlene.
Okay, can you hear me now? Another thing, not red, but you can have potatoes too, because they're any root that are in the ground, even nuts, stuff like that. Peanuts are great because those are in the ground. Potatoes, those are in the ground. Those are any root-based vegetable.
Beautiful, yes. Okay, energy exercises is grounding with the earth, moving your body, even a dance. Like when I am telling you, get the stuff out of your body. We are sitting here with all this energy and frequency in our body, and if you don't physically move it, use water to move it through your body. You're just sitting with it, and then it causes and stirs up all this chaos, dissension, and what do they say? If you don't move it through your body, it stirs up as dis-ease. And it can show up as illnesses, inflammation. If you don't process your emotions, it will show up in some sort of health manner, period. Breath work, exercises. Okay. Anybody have anything to add on this besides dancing? That was not included in my list. Dance parties at home? Yes. Okay, journaling prompts and shadow work. I think this is a very big, if not top 3 of the root chakra, shadow work. Because shadow work also means that we have to look at things that we don't necessarily want to always look at. And these are the times where it's not performative. Your answer isn't going to change based on what you think other people want to hear. The only way you can do your work is when you're radically honest with yourself And you don't even have to tell anybody what the answers to these questions are, but you really actually have to ask yourself. Don't scan them. Don't go speed reading through it like I normally have done with a lot of my things. But you really have to ask, what fears and insecurities do I hide from others? Where do I sabotage my own sense of safety or stability? What survival patterns or beliefs from my past no longer serve me that I'm still holding on to? And this comes back to those old paradigms of even things that how we were raised, to believe that we should be seen and not heard. Where do I need to forgive myself in order to feel grounded and free? And what parts of myself have I abandoned in order to feel safe or accepted? These are actual things that doesn't involve anybody else. They're only questions you can ask for yourself on how you've shown up for yourself. Period. The end. And journaling prompts. I think it's important to go through the journaling prompts. Is what makes me feel safe? How do you go and know? What are your boundaries? And how can anyone else support you in your boundaries if you don't know what they are and you haven't expressed them and you're not living them for yourself? People often are like, oh my gosh, I feel so triggered. Your triggers are your responsibility. I'll say it. Your triggers are your responsibility. Yes, you can tell people what your triggers are, but having people tiptoe on eggshells around you is perpetuating and slimy. And we can all be the best versions of ourselves in community. We can all not talk about let's just say, what was the old rules? We don't talk about money, politics, and religion at the dinner table or something like that. That was like the etiquette rule for like a while. But at the same time, knowing that my triggers are my responsibility is taking ownership of our lives. And I think that's a pretty big part of the root chakra. Anybody have anything to add along these lines?
When you're doing your shadow work, it's not going to be easy. And like you said, Julie, like you have to be 100% truthful with yourself, but also don't be hard, like don't feel guilt or hard. Don't be too hard on yourself for reflecting on who you are or who you were, because every single thing that happened had put you into this place of where you are now. So instead of looking at it as a negative, look at it as a positive and look at what have you learned from that shadow work. It's not meant to like put yourself down. It's meant to bring yourself up.
I think that's a big one. Sam and I have always, in the more recent times, is that our affirmation is I forgive myself, because we only did what we could with the information that we had at the time, right? And then if I learn from it, then I don't have to repeat the pattern now that I've recognized it. And I think that's a really important one to know, is if you don't recognize it and you don't learn from it, then you're going to have to repeat it. And Mercury retrograde comes 3 times a year, and I promise you, Mercury retrograde will bring that up over and over and over and over and over, and that's why everybody hates it. But look at Mercury retrograde like a blessing, that you can bring things up so that you understand, oh wow, that must be something I haven't worked through. What is it that I missed, so that I can move on. Boom. And now it's the invitation. What a better way to like reintroduce ourselves into the community than start a Rooted in May Root Chakra Challenge. It's a free challenge for absolutely everyone. All of us here in this room right here are going to be involved. It's going to be very fun. There are prizes, and it's only based on you and how much you show up for yourself honestly. And we don't need to know your answers. We don't really need to know. It's for you. Self-paced, your journey. If you choose to join, again, it's free. You just sign up. The link is in our bio. You'll get 1 email a week, and it will have journaling prompts, exercises, all the fun things, kind of like what we talked about. There's a theme for each of the weeks. And if you're a Patreon member, there will be a weekly Zoom support, so that there's an added element of support during all of this. And you will be able to submit either a video or your scorecard sheet at the end of every week. And at the end of the month, we'll come together and talk about it. And we'll kind of go through each one of these. And if you're interested, again, sign up. It's free. Anybody want to add anything to this?
I just hope people will really take advantage of this, because it can be hard to try and do some of these things when you feel like you're on your own. But we can really take so much support in community and help each other and hold each other accountable and have fun doing it. I'm going to be doing it. I hope that people will join me so they can help me and I can help them.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, I was just going to say the same thing. It's nice to have other like-minded souls going through the same thing, because you're not alone. You know, some of us, you know, we've had to do the shadow work alone, and it wasn't fun. You know, now that we all have a community, it's a blessing.
Mm. Mm. Yes. Beautiful. Okay. Well, that's Mallory, do you want to add?
I was just gonna say, I'm just excited. That was cute, though. Charlene, you always make me cry sometimes.
Sorry, I had that effect on people.
This is one of like multiple very exciting things coming for our community, and I really hope that people really do take advantage of this, because it is also, to be able to do something like at this pace for free is kind of a big deal. And the amount of support that you get for free, but imagine the support that you get as a Patreon member, and a Patreon membership is only $11.11. It is not crazy. I promise you, it's cheaper than Hulu and way more fun, way more engaging, and I promise that it will be what's the word I'm looking for? You might not remember that Hulu show in 5 years, but you will remember showing up for yourself. How about that?
Transformative.
Transformative, thank you. I just don't always have this is why I need community. Here's a couple of the places that you can find us. We're on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Spotify. We're also on Pinterest. We have 2 followers, but we're there. But you can see kind of everything that we're doing. In our link in bio, you can see all of our fun videos, all of our different classes, workshops, and there's so much more that's coming. I can't even talk about it yet. Just stay tuned. Yeah, does anybody have anything to add before we close out today?
Just do your bleeping work, people, with us.
Yes, this is the perfect place. There's no judgment. There's nobody's you're the only person that gets to hold yourself accountable. So who is it that you want to be? And with the planet, we literally just finished 7 planets in Aries. We're going, Uranus just entered into a 7. This is the best time for new beginnings, the best time. And if you start the root chakra now and we focus 1 a month, you can have all 7 chakras, these chakras at least, done by 2027. Not that it's but it's next year we'll even be able to show up more for ourselves. So it's a step. Come take a step with us. Any final thoughts? Questions, concerns, comments? If anybody has anything they want to add, academyoflogic&light@gmail.com. If you've liked what you've seen today, stay tuned for more. If you'd like to contribute, collaborate, or any of the things, email us, reach out, and yeah, thanks for joining. Until next time.